All right. Welcome to episode 8 in This Week Inside the New York Knicks podcast. We're going to be covering everything that happened within the Knicks organization in terms of basketball stuff between December the 11th to the 17th. Definitely give yourself a round of applause. You're tuned into the most popping YouTube channel. Salute to you for listening on Spotify, Facebook. This podcast can be found anywhere podcasts can be found. And I am your humble host, the Objective Fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest. You know the vibes. So listen, man, we're going to be rocking and we're going to be doing our thing. Now, look, some of the topics that we're going to be covering today is we're going to be talking about that Knicks Clipper game. We're definitely going to get into that Jalen Brunson 50 ball. Yes, we will. And some of the other games from last week. We'll get into the Lakers preview because that's the next game coming up on Monday. We'll also get into Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle and their bid, in my opinion at least, to make the All-Star team. We'll get into the power rankings and more. Also, I would like for you guys to check out, we did the first episode of Level-Headed Knicks Talk, and we covered actually the first 50 games, or the first quarter, I should say, not 50 games, 23 games of the season. So definitely give a shout out to that. I will be doing another live show this Thursday, but check out the previous show. I'll link that in the description. It was pretty good, pretty interesting. I actually graded the team. And if you're new to the podcast, this podcast is about documenting the Knicks 365, 7 days a week. You give me 50 minutes, I give you the Knicks, and we'll give a whole big rundown as to all the hot topics for the week. And then also on the website, after I update it, of course, the website, the notes from this podcast will be on the website, listed under website notes. And once again, I am still looking for a co-host. I know I say this every episode. If you're interested in co-hosting, send me an email, info@theobjectiveknicksfan.com. Now, I do have high standards. The first standard is you definitely have to bleed orange and blue. That's the first standard. So if you do that and that you're a diehard Knicks fan, definitely send me an email and we'll talk more about that. So let's get started, man. So in this podcast, we jump into research mode. We're gonna be talking about this Clipper game first. Very disappointing loss. I mean, this game was tough to watch. Honestly, I typically before I began covering the Knicks, I would definitely shut the game off. Once I see a blowout that's insurmountable, I mean, the Clippers definitely ran it up against us. I wrote a game summary. Definitely, if you're subscribed to the Objective Knicks Fan channel, you should be able to see my game post and my breakdowns. And I said this. I said the Knicks' collapse on the road appeared to be inevitable as the Clippers trimmed the Knicks' early lead due to the prowess of Harden and Zubac's pick and roll. That pick and roll was crazy. Then once Kawhi got it going, it was inevitably a wrap. The big three held their own, but the Clippers' Hall of Fame four was too much and cut short any hope for a Knicks comeback. Yeah, I hope you caught the little play on words, Clippers cutting the Knicks comeback. The things, just trying to be a little poetic. Now, this road loss definitely showed me two things. One, our three-point defense is horrendous. If you look at the Clippers, they shot 45%, 48% from downtown. That's alarming. They had 30, and then another thing too, they had 30 free throws in the first half. Couldn't stop fouling them. I mean, Kawhi, he was 7-7 from the line. Harden also took 7 free throws. It was crazy. That pick and roll, in my opinion, Jericho Sims is going to have to step his game up, or he just may not be the right guy for the job. I covered him in the word of the street. I talked about his inefficiencies as a starting center. But he's definitely going to have to do something about that, or we're going to have to definitely consider making a change to that starting lineup as well. So that pick and roll defense and the 3-point defense, to me, Definitely the two things that were kind of crazy. Um, yeah, the big three, they almost had three of them getting 20 points. Dante DiVincenzo had 18. But as you know from listening to this channel, I don't give any praise to uh any individual's performances in a losing effort. And then the Kawhi Julius Randle matchup, this was payback. In the first game, Julius Randle was pretty much unstoppable, and the Clippers had no answers for him. And also, this was a different Clipper team. This Clipper team, they were 11-3 in their last 14 games, and I think they have a 10-3 at home record, right? Oh yeah, well 11-3 because they beat us. So as you can see at the top of the screen, it's right here. But so this was a different Clipper team, and I think Kawhi definitely had this game circled on his calendar because, like I said, Julius Randle was giving him the business. This time they did a great job trapping Julius Randle, and that definitely gave Randle some fits. Um, it just very disappointing loss. But I kind of figured on this road trip we were gonna drop at least two games, and so far we lost two. To one, and that Jazz loss, we're gonna get to that. That wasn't really a solid performance. We're gonna jump to the Phoenix game, but before we get to the Phoenix game, well, how about this? Let me show you that. You're gonna go to shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. We in research mode. Definitely take the time, as you can see. Got the hoodie on. Cop you a eye bleed orange and blue hoodie, t-shirt. Um, I just dropped the black version to the NY. I bleed NY. Orange and blue shirts. These shirts are fire. And I believe this is the hoodie version. And then we also got the Digisoft. If you're into Digisoft, for each one of my designs, I have that on the website. The website is listed right below. Shop at theobjectiveknicksfan.com. And support the shop. Copy some merch. It's fire. I got on the regular eye bleed orange and blue. This is the NY version. So if you want to rep your team, do so with style and pride. But let's move forward. We're gonna jump into the Suns game now. The Suns game definitely was a historic night. Jalen Brunson, hold on. You gotta give him a round of applause. Salute to Jalen Brunson. He definitely did his thing. He had a 50 ball, the first of his career high. The second time in Knick history where Jalen Brunson, I think he and Kyrie went 9 for 9 from threes to get the 50 ball. This game had a lot of notable stuff about it. I mean, I wrote a nice little game review. I'll read some of it here. I said, ironically, it was the Knicks that brought the heat to the Valley of the Sun. The Brunson burner, salute to Walkai, I ain't give him that name, to those that may not know. The Brunson burner ignited an impressive blue flame, and the Suns didn't know they were done. Early in the fourth, Booker and Durant were held in check as if predestined to meet their fate. Mate in six, for those of my chess players. JB put on one of the greatest shooting displays in Knicks history. I honestly, and this is no disrespect to Melo's 62 in the Garden, which was amazing, but that 9 for 9 from downtown was pretty impressive. So he put on one of the greatest shooting displays in Knicks history. It's definitely arguably up there. Couldn't believe my eyes. The Brunson burner turned the three ball into a free throw while proving a game on Friday night could be as easy as Sunday morning. It might as well have been a matinee game. He was on fire. And then Bradley Beal, he got hurt in this game. And then to end it, I said this Wildcats offensive attack was a supernova. I got bars. I used to rap back in the day, so I try to when I write my little game post to read the whole thing. Just go to the YouTube, or if you're on Facebook, definitely take the time to subscribe to those platforms so you could read my writing. I try to write a game post, and I even do sometimes I do a matchup preview. And like we're gonna preview this Laker game. So just to give you guys some of my objective points of views. Now, this game definitely caused a huge stir in the basketball world. I got a Bleacher Report article here. Uh, Kevin Durant, he says that Jalen Brunson will be a Hall of Fame player if he keeps it up. He gave him his props. Wasn't sarcastic. It was genuine. He took his time. He paused, and he was very thoughtful and definitely saluted. Gave Jalen Brunson the salute that I thought that he deserved. And yeah, I mean, salute to KD for giving it up because he definitely did his thing. And listen, sometimes I try to tell you, don't get too high on your wins and too low on your losses. But hey, listen, we any praise the Knicks get, I'm rocking with them. So Hoops Hype, they did their own top 10 their global rankings, right? And as you can see, Jalen Brunson cracked the top 10. They got a rating system they created, right? Embiid is number one. He has a 31.48. And then Jalen Brunson, he's number 10 with 22.25. Hey, salute. See, stuff like this, Jalen Brunson getting All Stars of the Weeks, getting all these lists, top player lists. That's going to get him an all-star, bro. We're going to get into that all-star stuff too. That's probably going to be our flagship topic. A lot of you guys probably came to the video to see that, but Jalen Brunson is definitely getting his props. He's definitely getting his props. I mean, let's see. I got a quote here from R.J. Barrett. He said that uh, they weren't forced or spectacular or acrobatic. This is what he said. I'm sorry. Let me start from the beginning. There was nothing extra about the attempts. They weren't forced or spectacular or acrobatic, as Barrett noted. It just kind of happened. I think the crazy part about it was he was hot, obviously, but it wasn't like crazy, Barrett said. Just regular shots he takes every night. He just ended up making all of them. I agree with that. Brunson was in his vibe. He was in his zone. Didn't really do nothing different. He was just on the money. I mean, the Suns' perimeter defense. That's one of the things the Suns lack is sound perimeter defense, and it showed this game. And Bradley Beal wasn't there; he got hurt. But Bradley Beal honestly was not going to help them defend. That's not his specialty. Um, let's see. I think probably their best perimeter defender. I mean, Okogie wasn't there, but Allen is no slouch either. And they just were no match for Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, RJ. All of the guys had pretty solid shooting nights. I mean, let's see. RJ was 6 for 10, 1 or 2 from downtown. Dante 2 or 3. Let me see. Off the bench, not much bench production, but solid nonetheless. Right? Quickly came, chimed in with his 10. Uh, you have Randle 10 to 16 from the field, so it was a good shooting night across the board. But Brunson definitely was feeling himself, so salute to him. Now, so if you guys weren't living under the rock, you know about the Giannis Antetokounmpo game ball situation, and so we almost had a well, we definitely wasn't going to have a situation because Ryan Arcidiacono secured the game ball, right? Because Giannis, unfortunately, was confused. His team actually did secure the game ball, by the way, but Giannis didn't know that, so he was running around the arena trying to secure this game ball for his 64-point performance against the Pacers, right? And that was at home. This was on the road. So as soon as the game was up, right? Uh, Randall and Aki Diagono did their thing by securing the ball. So I got a quote here. It says, it wasn't enough that Ryan Aki Diagono and a 6'2" reserve guard was in the game, yeah, because it was a crunch time, garbage time, and had a possession after the final buzzer. He said, so Randall said this because Ryan Aki Diagono was the last player with the ball on the floor. He said, I don't trust Ryan with the game ball. They might look at him and think we can take that. So that's why Randall ran over there and grabbed the ball. Right? This is little fun stuff, little positive news. Let me see if they got the picture of no. There's a classic picture circulating of Randall handing Brunson the ball. I mean, iconic stuff. Iconic stuff. So we learned. Actually, I think we learned like in the, around like some hours right before the game that Taj Gibson, they brought him back to help try to fill the void. For let's see if I got that out. Yeah, they helped try to fill the void. For no, this was wait. The game was yeah. I think this was right before the game, but they brought Taj Gibson back to kind of fill the void that Mitch Robinson, he's going to be out 8 to 10 weeks. Once again, check out that level-headed Knicks talk show. We covered the Mitchell Robinson injury in depth. We'll be doing another Thursday show. I don't have a flyer ready yet, but I will have a flyer. I will post it in the community section to let you guys know about that. But yeah, so Taj Gibson, he gets another crack at it. And it's a non-guaranteed contract. So, you know, maybe if Mitch comes back, they can let him go, or if it doesn't pan out. But they did waive Dylan Windler, who I think he was assigned to the G League team, but he wasn't really getting no minutes with the Knicks. So, and once again, he was a guard, he was a wing. Like, so the Knicks have too many wings. So I think that letting one of them go to bring in Taj was a smart move. Um, I, we talked about it on the level-headed Knicks talk about other options at power forward. Definitely check that show out. I don't want to double back on that, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Taj Gibson rejoining the Knicks. Salute to Taj. You're the man. We're gonna keep moving. Let's jump into this Utah game now. I'm not gonna go too much depth with Utah. I mean, we lost the game. We can look at some of the box scores. I don't think I wrote a game post for this. I was too busy, but this game was a nightmare. I'm gonna tell you why. And this is why I told you earlier in that Clippers game, 3-point defense. Now the Clippers were definitely an efficient team from the field, but Utah was one of the. I'm not sure if they were one of the worst, but they weren't a great 3-point shooting team, and they shot 38% from downtown against us. I think they were like 29 or 28. I could pull up in research mode, but it's not even necessary. Um, Utah, and and this kid here, Keontae George, I like him. He actually got hurt within the first 4 minutes, but Utah just lit us up. Like I said, and they're not a threat from downtown. And we were off this game. And this game honestly is the game that helped like spawn and push Brunson into that 50 ball. Um, this game got him going. He was definitely not feeling his play. He was kind of upset, kind of bothered. So he said, "Hey, boom, let me go in." And you see anything else about this game? RJ bad. This was a bad shooting performance from RJ. The size too, and I talked about this. The size. This is the first game that it was a problem for us. Utah has a very big team. They got 6'9" small forwards, multiple 7-footers. They bring this guy, Walker Kessler, off the bench. I like him. I don't understand it, but they bring him off the bench. So, Utah was definitely going to be a tough team, tough matchup. But hey, I think we see them again. We'll see them again on the 30th of January, and it's going to be a different game. But couple of things about this game too. Immanuel Quickley, this was his first game back. Um, oh yeah, okay. And this is another thing to note. This was like the first loss to a bad team. So I covered this on the last couple of podcasts. I did a show talking about how the Knicks is a third seed team. The Knicks were 11-0 against bad teams. They tried to make it 12-0, but the Jazz beat them. So we're 11-1 against teams under 500. I mean, you can't win them all. I take that winning percentage against bad teams any day. If they finish the season like that, the Knicks will win 50 games. Because beating the bad teams consistently is a trait that good teams have. So they were making a big deal about it, but it's one loss. It happens, and it's a road trip. They're on the road, and yeah, this is what I was getting into about Immanuel Quickley, his limited minutes, and he's not bothered by it. The Knicks don't have disgruntled players. We talked about this. The Knicks have a bunch of guys that's definitely locked in, committed, ready to sacrifice themselves for the team. And look at what Quickly said. He says, just whatever minutes you get, you got to go out there and be effective, Quickly said, whose playing time has been cut about 4 minutes a game from last season. It's cut about 4 minutes a game last season, but he was averaging 15 points a game, which is like a point higher than what he averaged last year. So he's becoming a little bit more efficient on with less opportunity. So I mean, big ups to Quickly for that. And you know, when they bring in Dante DiVincenzo, you got Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart. All those guys are pretty much guards. Sometimes you could play Grimes and Hart at the forward positions. Well, sometimes you play Grimes at the forward position. Hart is a forward. So, you know, it's not enough minutes like it was before. But he says, whatever minutes you get, you just gotta be effective. That sums that up in a nutshell. You know, then they try to make everything about the Knicks a big deal, but these Knicks are locked in, man. And this Laker game they got up and coming. I think they got what it takes to get the job done. We're gonna move along, moving at a good pace. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Big up for you if you're still listening. Give you a round of applause. Drop the air horns. But don't forget this key thing.
Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel.
Don't forget to subscribe. All right? Don't forget to subscribe. So we're going to move forward past this Jazz game. Nothing else really to note there. We could talk a little bit about Toronto. You know, Knicks beat Toronto. This was a bounce back game coming off the 2 losses from Milwaukee. We covered this game in terms of we previewed it on the last episode of the podcast, and we touched on it during the Level-Headed Knicks Talk show last week. Key things from this game. Toronto, we kind of got lucky. I mean, they shot over 35% from downtown, but the reason why we were lucky, we shot 58% from downtown. That's the number, right? The Knicks don't normally shoot that well, but Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett was pretty much unguardable this game. We talked about this before. I do want to talk about, because I told you that I was going to follow up with some legal stuff. The counter lawsuit, allegedly, that was filed by the Raptors. Let's see. So we got here an article here, ESPN. In the latest court filing with the U.S. Southern District of New York, the Raptors' parent company, which is Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, they said the Knicks filed a lawsuit in August was designed to maintain publicity for their allegations of the death of the propriety of the team for information. I agree with that. They wanted to let the public know that these guys stole our information. The MLSE, for the first time, raised the possibility of a countersuit and said that it would be more appropriate for the commissioner, Adam Silver, to resolve the case. Yeah, I think they're pump faking, man. By saving faces, just like threatening the countersue, you know, definitely pledging your innocence, like their coach did. A jury just kind of like dismissed it. He's not going for it. But here's what the MSG spokesperson said. Hopefully the court will make it clear that Toronto can't escape the consequence of breaking the law by being a member of the NBA. Wow. And then the Raptors responded and said, Knicks wrongly want the case in federal court rather than NBA arbitration to embarrass them. So I told you that after the game, there'll be some court news. So I just wanted to drop that in there. And you could read this ESPN article. It's very detailed. But like I said, this is why you follow the podcast, because we cover all of this stuff for sure. We definitely talked about this in great detail. Let's move forward. So we're going to talk about the upcoming Lakers game. So let's go to the injury reports right quick. Lakers got a lot of guys that's questionable and banged up, including their big 2, which would be AD and LeBron James. Honestly, whether LeBron and AD play, I think that if they're hobbled, they're not going to be 100%. And they'll probably put LeBron on the minutes restriction. Let's look at their last games. Especially if the Knicks can jump out to a good lead. I think that's what the Knicks need to do, for sure. But they lost to the Spurs. They got smacked. I actually saw that game. Definitely, you know, they didn't have their full squad. Spurs were feeling themselves, so you really can't count that. Even the game before that, they had a back to back at in San Antonio when they beat the Spurs. LeBron didn't play that game, and you know, it just was it was a close game, and it's a young Spurs team. If it's a close game down the stretch, the veteran team should win that. They did lose to Dallas, and they won of course, they won the NBA Cup. So they kind of like regressed because they won the cup. It's interesting like how ESPN always does this. They give the Knicks the matchup predictor favorite at 60%, but the Lakers are actually the favorite. So that tells me that LeBron and AD more than likely will be there. That's what Vegas is thinking about. Um, oh no, this is actually ESPN bet. So um, let's look at the Lakers rankings. I know that they do a good job on the boards, and they're a really good defensive team. Yeah, look, they're 11th in total rebounds, second in defensive rebounds. They got a lot of size. So that size thing tonight, depending on if AD plays, they definitely can give you a lot of trouble on the inside for sure. Let's see. Anything else to note? So Lakers are amongst the bottom teams in 3-point percentage. As you can see, I got it highlighted here in yellow. Um, this is going to be the key of the game. Can the Knicks hold them right to under 35% threes? If the Knicks can hold the Lakers to under 35% threes, they'll have a good chance of winning. And definitely rebounding is going to be something to definitely note. Lakers don't really do a good job at shutting teams down on the boards. They're kind of like amongst the bottom teams. Yeah, but nothing about the Lakers really stand out to me besides rebounding. They don't foul much, okay? But yeah, let's look at their SRS. Yeah, like I said, Lakers are kind of an average team, Of course, their two top guns, AD, LeBron. Yeah, definitely a beatable team, but without Mitchell Robinson, it's going to be tough on the inside. This will be a chance for Jericho Sims to show what he's made of. So let's jump into some rumors, man. How are we looking on time? Oh wow, I think we might actually finish this pod a little earlier than the 50 minutes. Let's see. So rumors. We talked about Zach Levine, and both sides don't show no interest. They're basically saying the same thing. Um, and now Philly's not really interested either. And there's no real interest in it. Hey, we'll see, man. I mean, as the deadline approaches, and a lot of those free agents that were signed, and they'll become eligible to be traded, that could lead to some things. But we'll see. Let's move forward. More Donovan Mitchell rumors. I'm not sure if we covered this on the last podcast, but this came out. Brian Windhurst, he reported months ago on the years that Mitchell will not re-sign with Cleveland. And so now they're saying that the Nets could be in play. So that could be a possible roadblock for the Knicks to get Donovan Mitchell. Me personally, I'm not going too crazy for Donovan Mitchell because I feel like we have Jalen Brunson, and I think a lineup with him and Mitchell will have a certain liabilities that I think can harm the team more than hurt the team. One being on the defensive end. Two, they both need the ball to be effective. And I think that's the problem Cleveland's having right now, on top of health issues, of course. Cleveland can never be healthy. Their guys always get hurt. Hey, I know they're the ops, but I kind of feel bad for them. So it really hasn't worked in Cleveland. I know they got their fair share of injuries. So you want to bring that same energy to New York? I don't know. I think that if you can sign Mitchell and then make other moves to try to bring other complementary pieces, especially defenders on the wing that can probably be more like two-way guys. So you're not putting so much pressure on those two. And if you could keep Randall too, it could be something. But I just think that the other guys you put around those guys, keeping a guy like Grimes and Hart and Dante, you know, of course, if you could keep RJ, he's our guy. But realistically, I think that you will have to make a move or a couple of moves to try to make that team fit. So this is according to Woj. The Knicks have been preparing themselves with draft assets and developing young players to make the kind of trade necessary to move into the elite of the Eastern Conference. I mean, I don't know how that's really news. I mean, I guess we could kind of figure that the Knicks definitely would like to make that type of move. I mean, we talked about this for months on the podcast that the Knicks are definitely interested in a couple of guys like Embiid at the time, and certain guys got traded, but the Knicks definitely have been aggressive. So we're gonna jump into word on the street. So on this podcast, hold on, yeah, okay. So on this podcast, we go back and we look at the community section because in my community section, I definitely take the time to get the people's insight and ask them questions just to see where they are, and then we talk about it. So we're gonna start here. Attention, Knicks fans. Last night, the Knicks edged out the Raptors in a down the stretch victory. What was the most impressive thing about last night wins? So we only got 164 votes. I don't know why people didn't like this poll. Typically, we get 300, but we take the 164. So 21% said 11-0 against below 500 teams, right? Another 58% said the Knicks shooting 56% from three. That was crazy. That's an aberration. The Knicks, oof, Knicks don't really do that. And then 19% say Julius Randle's 61st 30-point game. Salute to Julius Randle. Round of applause. Look, he's definitely, in my opinion, stepped up his game. And this is why I think I gave him a B plus for his player rating, or a B plus, because he's really taking his game to the next level. For him to get 61 30-plus games is pretty impressive. Salute to, man. Salute to Julius Randle, man. Let's see what some of the comments. I'll jump in since we got a little bit of time. Let's see what the people are talk about. I like the way the team look without quick, more ball movement, not too much ISO. And because we have too many guards, but they look like a balanced team against the Raptors. I mean, well, I think I responded to this. I said, well, we technically it's the same lineup. I mean, you just replace Deuce for Quickley. Now, Deuce is more of a facilitator. He's a good defender. He's not really looking to create too much on the offensive end, but at the same time, it's the same lineup. And I don't like, accusing Quickley of being the guy that stops the ball. Let's see if there's any other comments. Right, yeah, this is a good post here by Kenny. Salute to Kenny Barnes. Salute to him. He's somebody always. He's someone that always chimes in, and he says Grimes' fit on the second unit was the most impressive thing about the Knicks, but the most concerning thing is defense giving up 130 points to the Raptors. And I think somehow, some way, you know what? I think we might talk about that on the Next Level Hit Nick podcast. What happened to the defense? Is the Knicks defense broken, man? It certainly feels like it is, right? It certainly feels like the Knicks defense have been broken. So let's look at some more posts, right? See, and this is a perfect example of this is a game preview I did talking about that Jazz game. You could just go to the community section. I got a lot of stuff there. Now, this poll is more like it, 333 votes. So 333 Knicks fans voted. And I said the Knicks signed Taj Gibson again to help fill the void at the center spot that Mitch Robinson left with his injury. How do you feel about this? So once again, 333 votes. 53% say it was a good move. We need a big man. 37% say I'd prefer another player And 10% say, I don't know. So Knicks fans are sort of sure for the most part that it was a good move. I honestly preferred another big man, but to be honest, when we looked at the big man on the last level in the Knicks show, we didn't really see one that really was like miles ahead of Gibson, or there was a whole sea of guys that would put Gibson to shame. Let's see if there's any interesting comments here. Yeah, he home. Hometown kid, Brooklyn, represent. Listen, we straight out of that Kings County, man. Stop playing with us, man. And then this guy here, Paul York, 7681, he says, y'all some delusional Knicks fans. Don't we have Jericho Sims? And you did not know that Taj was cut from the Wizard after 2 games? First off, you guys need to really step up your writing. No offense. I know guys typing fast. Nobody's professional writers, and I make mistakes in my writings too. But sometimes you definitely gonna have to make your stuff clearer. But I asked him, I said, who's delusional? And if you see this, Paul York, please tell me who's delusional. And then I asked him a question. Do you even know why they signed Taj? They signed Taj to replace Mitch. It has nothing to do with Jericho Sims. It has everything to do with, okay, if Jericho Sims ain't bowling, you might have to throw Taj in there, but it had nothing to do with Jericho Sims. And, as you can see, Jericho Sims was still the starter. I think that we might be getting to a point where we might have to readjust that. Let's see how he does against the Lakers. But, yeah, that's some commentary there on this. So we're going to check out some more polls that we did. I think I got one more idea. I didn't do too many polls this week. Let's see. Attention Knicks fans. Jalen Brunson, the historic 50-point shooting performance last night was incredible. Is this the best shooting performance in Knicks history? 276 Knicks fans voted. Okay. And 75% said yes. 17% said no. And then 8% said they don't know. I think I don't know. My polls is the realest answer. You could tell that I take time to really write these polls and consider it, because I really want the people that's saying yes or no, I want them to be sure. The 8% that's saying I don't know, I don't want them votes to count with that yes or no. But anyway, so let's look at some of the comments. People responding to each other, having conversation. He would have scored 60 if he didn't get benched for no reason. Okay, that's what this comment is response to. Mellow 62, come on, man. So I think I replied to this. Salute to Johnny. What's that? Johnny Riot. Okay, got it. Johnny Riot 13. Salute to you, man. I said Mellow 62 was incredible. And it was definitely in the Garden. But he didn't go 9 for 9 for 3. I don't remember what his stats was. I know he didn't go 9 for 9 for 3. And then this is why I asked the question. It's really from a pure the best shooting performance. That's why I got the shooting in caps. So I respect the Melo, from a shooting perspective, definitely either Brunson or Sprewell. Yeah, Sprewell went 9 to 9 too, but he just didn't get the 50. He didn't get the 50 ball. Novak and JR definitely had some major shooting nights, but not like Brunson and Spree. Yeah. Like I said, the only reason I give the edge to Brunson, because I actually remember that Sprewell game too. He was lighting it up. But only reason why I give the edge to Brunson because he had the 50 ball. It's a 50 ball with 9 to 9. That's some high level stuff. Okay. Then I actually did this post earlier today. So the Knicks lost their second game on this 5-game road trip. Their current issues are the pick and roll defense, which we talked about, and defending the 3-ball. In your opinion, how can we fix this? Right? 168 votes from Knicks fans. So 43% of the 168 say start him. Start Hartenstein. 33% say extend the rotation to 10 and add Gibson. 20% say I don't know. That's the most realist group of people here. Because honestly, I don't know either. I have some ideas. I think that these are the ideas I came, technically proposed. Starting Hartenstein, I think, will help with the pick and roll defense because he's definitely better on pick and roll defense than Jericho Sims. But I also like extending the rotation to 10. Now, I know we're not going to do that because Tibbs, he's stubborn. He has his own rotation. But I do think that Gibson can help pick and roll defense. He's a veteran. He's smart. He'll be able to read a lot of what's going on the floor. And then 3% also said they have other things they would like to pitch. So there's a lot of comments in here. This to my brother right here, you need Grimes out there starting, and you need to mix up the players and have RJ set off the ball screens for him. RJ himself has been consistently inconsistent. Well, he's not an RJ fan. So until he finds his rhythm again, use him as a decoy. Taj to play over Sims immediately as well. I like that ties to play over. I think that that's something we may have to consider, but off the bench. Also, the current rotation have JB play longer in the first quarter is messing with their overall rotations. I disagree with that. JB, that was the adjustment later on in the season last year with JP playing that first quarter. Because the keys, if you look at I don't got that stat in front of me, but I know that the Knicks have a terrible record when they don't win first quarters. Winning first quarters is important. That's why having Randle and Brunson out there for the majority of that first to try to win the quarter keeps you on track to try to win the game. I think that, I disagree with that. And before I continue reading, I also disagree. So salute to you. This is by Okie Ant. Salute to you, family. I appreciate the people taking the time to write these lengthy responses. I didn't get the chance to respond to it because I actually like to read and then really get into it. But I addressed this second point. I want to touch on this first point. Mix up the plays and have RJ set off the ball screens for him. First off, RJ Barrett is the small forward. Yes, he plays a little bit of power forward when Randle's out the game. If he's starting, that means he's out there with Hartenstein and Randle. Why not have those two guys set the screens instead of RJ? Is that a slight to RJ? It doesn't really make that much sense. And then also we got to understand that you talk about RJ Barrett being consistently inconsistent. What about Quentin Grimes being consistently inconsistent starting? Yeah, see, a lot of you guys, and I'm not talking about Okie yet, a lot of Knicks fans are fickle. They don't keep track of what's going on for the whole season. That's why when we do level-headed Knicks talk, we take a deep dive and we call out a lot of things that people may not miss. We pay attention to detail. And one of the things we don't do is get caught up in one game or a string of games. We actually analyze the entire season in the big picture. The big picture is Quentin Grimes had way more inconsistent games than RJ Barrett. So why would you bring the guy who's been more inconsistent in the starting lineup to try to bring consistency? That point doesn't make sense. IQ, okay, should go back to being the sixth man. IQ is the sixth man. Bringing him out with Hart and you start second quarters with Dante DiVincenzo. Let the benchmark be IQ, DiVincenzo, and Hart. Okay. I disagree with that, but good comment. We're going to move forward. So, once again, salute to you. You're still listening to the podcast. Drop some ear horns, man. I think, honestly, we have a great chance of having two All-Stars this season. Brunson has definitely been the mark of consistency, if you ask me, out of all the players on the team. I think that he's definitely been the pillar for the Knicks thus far this season. He's stepping up his game with the 50 ball. He's shooting a great clip from downtown, over 40%. Look, the Knicks could have two All-Stars. They could have zero. I disagree. You're definitely getting one from the Knicks because the Knicks should have a good record. They should be in the top 5, 6 by the time All-Star break. Honestly, I think top 3, but let's just say top 4 or 5 by All-Star break. I think that's good enough to get you the two All-Stars. So, the East right now has 4 guarantees, right? Giannis, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, and Tyrese Halliburton. Well, I mean, all right, yeah, Halliburton's having a great season. I can't dump on the guy. Yeah, I guess he's a lock. All I'm saying, if Tyrese Halliburton is a lock and the Pacers is falling and they're not in that top 6, you got to give the two All-Stars. I mean, I'm just saying, if he's a lock and his team is not in the top 6, Donovan Mitchell, yes, for sure. Because he's probably the only consistent Cav. Even though he's definitely missed games too, but he's been the most consistent. Damian Lillard, uh, Tyrese Maxey. Yes, definitely Tyrese Maxey. If Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey's a lock. Uh, Jimmy Butler's a lock. Oh, well, they say he's very likely. Okay. So that means Brunson and Randle fighting for the 4 remaining spots, along Jalen Brown, who will probably be an all-star. I don't think Jalen Brown's missing or has missed any games. Scotty Barnes, no, your team is terrible. Bam Adebayo, yeah. I don't know his numbers off the top. Trey Young, depends if the team is winning. Like these guys here, Trey Young, Scotty Barnes. I mean, come on. Their teams are not in the mix. Now, Paolo for sure, definite lock all-star. I would say Paolo should probably be a guarantee because his team is in the top 5, and I think they're going to stay up there. Franz Wagner, no. Porzingis, nah. He's missed some games. Maybe Porzingis, but if you got Tatum and Brown, I don't think they're going to give him 3 all-stars. And the same thing with Mikal Bridges. The Nets got to stay in that top 6. So, you know, these are some really good names here, but I think that Jalen Brunson, maybe besides Paolo because he's young, and yeah, besides probably Paolo and maybe Jalen Brown, I'm not taking none of these other guys over Randle and Brunson. I think Randle and Brunson are better players than these guys. I'm sorry. I said it. You gonna shoot me? I think that I just think that they're better. I think that the Knicks definitely have a great chance of getting um 2 all-stars this year. Um Brunson was snubbed last year for the all-star. So yeah, the league gotta make it up this year. You know, he got a player of the week. How many of these guys got players of the weeks? How many of these guys? Does Franz Wagner got a player of the week? I know Kristaps Porzingis don't got a player of the week. Mikal Bridges, I don't know if he got a player of the week. Bam Adebayo definitely does not have a player of the week. So I'm not knocking these guys. I just think that our guys are better. So, you know, I think the Knicks definitely have a great shot at getting two all-stars. Let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. Now, we coming close to that 50-minute mark. Let's see how much more I would like to discuss. We talked about the All-Star. Let's get into the power rankings. So these are the power rankings, right? Celtics number 1. Celtics have been number 1 for a while now. Definitely deserve the top spot. Them and the Timberwolves, they've been the top 2 teams consistently for the majority of the season. You got Philly. They moved up from 6 to 3. Salute to Philly. I mean, even though they're the ops, you know, I thought that they were falling. Clearly, they're not. They're definitely winning games. Of course, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Denver's falling. I mean, I think Murray just came back. They're still getting adjusted, but Denver will be fine. Orlando Magic has been on fire. They deserve to be up there. Lakers, they won the end season cup, but they kind of fell. I mean, they lost to the Spurs, bro. But oh yeah, okay. So yeah, these games didn't happen yet. So yeah, this is for last week's ranking. I gotta remember that. I'm a little further ahead. Pacers at 9. Yeah, they went to the cup finals. So I guess Mavericks has been playing all right basketball. Kings. I mean, the Kings and us are kind of tied there. I would put the Kings and us kind of like together. I feel like the Kings, for one, is like the West Coast versions of us. But they got us at 12. I'm not even mad with this week's ranking because this week's ranking to me is way better than before. I mean, because like I was saying, they had the Magic like 2 weeks ago. Because I don't think we did a power rankings last week. The Magic was like further down. You know what I'm saying? The Lakers were further down. You know, like all the Pacers too. You know, all those teams, in my opinion, deserve to be where they are now. You know, and the Knicks was 9 last week. So, you know, Knicks is pretty much holding on to like a top 12 spot for the season for the most part. You know, they've been, 14. They were 14 the first time we covered the power rankings, but they've been moving up ever since then. And I think that, we lost to Utah, we beat Phoenix, we lost to the Clippers. I think if we beat the Lakers, that'll be good enough to at least hold on to our spot. I know the Clippers beat us, and they're right behind us. Maybe the Clippers take our spot, but we'll see. I think that if we beat the Lakers, I think we could hold on our spot. I don't know if the Clippers, well, they play Indiana today too, so we got to see how they do against the Indiana. Indiana got a high-powered offense, so I don't know how they'll do. But power rankings, they rate us fair this week. What do you think about the power rankings? Let me know. Josh Hart, he has an obsession with candy. Some of these things I'm just gonna read off. Of course, we know the schedule is brutal. Brutal schedule. You know what? We'll wrap up with this ESPN article. Let me see if I can get it. Salute to you. First off, salute to you if you stayed with me, man. Big up to yourself. Representing objective Knicks fans. All right, so here's a cool little, this is an ESPN Plus article. I know I got a lot of subscriptions. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to cancel some of these things. But it helps me stay abreast of what's going on. So NBA trade deadline roster holds on championship contenders. So check this out. They got the Knicks listed amongst championship contenders. I thought that was a cool mention. That's why I wanted to talk about it. Let's read a little bit. So this is what they're saying our roster hold is. A star, any star. Knicks have a solid, deep defensive team. Our defense is kind of falling off. But they lack a difference-making talent and been trying to acquire one. Okay. But they have to trade. They have 7 tradable first-round picks and 12 tradable second-round picks. A lot of picks, man. And the chance of a significant trade, maybe. Knicks can make a massive offer for only offer if a star comes to the market, but they have shown patience. Yeah. So, yeah, they got us listed amongst contending teams. You know what? That's all for this episode, man. We did the thing, man. Salute to you if you listen to the podcast up to this point.
Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe
Don't forget
to my
to subscribe. And for sure, man, big up to yourself. That's all for this podcast. It can be heard everywhere on all streaming platforms. I am the Objective Fan. And until next time, let's go Knicks!